It's all covered in today's China Truths.
Trump has gone crazy, and I'm going crazy too. Two new clients I had been negotiating with for over half a year, molds all completed, suddenly pulled out. Several regular clients who placed monthly orders just informed us in the past few days that they're suspending production. This is the reality our factory is facing after the tariff hike. Doing foreign trade now feels like the sky is falling. Employees are being forced to take leave, and the ones hit the hardest are still the ordinary workers. Over there, all the retail stores have already shut down, and products can't be sold. In recent years, China's economy has been in decline, and even the four major Tier 1 cities, Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen, are no exception. The economic situation is becoming increasingly severe. Business bankruptcies and salary cuts have become the norm. Shanghai, once China's largest economic and financial hub, dubbed Greater Shanghai, has lost its former prosperity. Even its three major commercial streets have fallen into decline. Pouring fuel on the fire is the intensifying China-US tariff war. Small and medium-sized export-oriented businesses are now facing a survival crisis. Orders from the U.S. have plummeted drastically, and large volumes of inventory are piling up. With the May 1st holiday approaching, many companies have chosen to suspend operations after the break. Today, let's talk about this topic. How much has the trade war with the U.S. affected us? We are an agricultural company that's been in the baby banana business for 10 years, with an annual revenue of over 100 million RMB. About 20 million comes from exports, of which the U.S. market accounts for around 3 million, roughly 10% of our total export volume. Actually, the tariffs were raised 1 to 2 years ago. We negotiated with our buyers to split the costs 50-50 and managed to maintain the orders. But this year, the tariffs have gone up again. We tried to renegotiate and share the losses. At worst, we'd make no profit or just a small margin. But this time, the increase is just too much. We really can't bear it anymore. Look at this. Orders from the U.S. have now completely disappeared. We still have over 20 tons of goods in the warehouse that were prepared for export to the U.S., and 5 more containers are on the way and will arrive at our warehouse in a few days. At the Donguan warehouse, there are another 50 to 60 tons also prepared for the U.S. market. Now we have no choice but to find other ways to deal with it. Now it's no longer just a matter of tariffs, it's a matter of survival. That's because 60-70% of our revenue comes from American customers. The pressure right now is overwhelming. We're still trying to maintain positive communication with our American clients, but everyone is just waiting to see how the situation unfolds. At the same time, we're looking for new strategies, such as shifting to intermediary trade or finding other ways to deal with our inventory. The biggest issue right now is that we simply can't sell. And without sales, there's no cash flow. The situation is truly dire. That's the reality. Both sides are locked in a standoff, and neither is backing down. But in the end, it's the ordinary people who suffer. After all, factories need to support their workers, and workers need to make a living, right? If we can't ship goods or collect payments, how are we supposed to pay wages? That's the first issue. The second is the looming threat of unemployment. Millions of Chinese factories involved in foreign trade are being affected by the U.S.-China trade conflict. Orders from the U.S. have nearly dropped to zero. Videos circulating online show that starting from the May 1st holiday, over 50% of foreign trade companies in Zhejiang province are expected to halt operations for an extended period. This phenomenon is already spreading to other major export hubs like Suzhou, Jiangsu, and Donguan, Guangdong, becoming a snapshot of the bitter winter now facing China's foreign trade sector. It's over. Really, it's over. There's no more work to be done. Starting today, we're off. Word is, there's not a single order coming in. When we asked management, they said we'll be shut down for at least 3 months. What are we supposed to do? Are we expected to starve for the next 3 months? I have elderly parents to care for and children to raise. Some Chinese people refer to the US as the beautiful country, since the character Mei in Chinese means beautiful. Today, I genuinely feel heartbroken. I just met with a client whose factory, with over 400 workers, had to suspend operations due to the heavy blow from tariffs imposed by the beautiful country. He looked exhausted, still trying to find a way out, even cracking a few jokes to lighten the mood. But honestly, I couldn't smile at all. 2 days ago, they stopped taking orders, stopped shipping, and stopped production altogether. At the same time, workers' wages were cut down to the bare minimum for survival. Those who wanted to stay and tough it out could do so. Those who couldn't were let go. He even asked me to draft a cost estimate for opening a factory in the Middle East, planning to conduct a site visit in May. What else can he do? Life has to go on. In 2025, the economy is declining, and this is only the beginning. The real estate market has collapsed, stores are closing en masse, and many factories are without orders. Everyone is caught in a whirlpool of fierce competition. June may be the turning point. By then, there may be no more orders left to compete for. Next will come a wave of unemployment. And after that, I won't go further. If I speak too plainly, this video might be censored. Videos like this might not be to everyone's taste, but they are meant for those who can still think independently. I've been through many ups and downs before, weathered all kinds of storms. I remember in the past, as long as I endured for a while and then pushed a little harder, I could make progress. There was still hope for growth. But now I truly feel lost and powerless. What's frightening is not that one sees no future. What's frightening is clearly seeing the future and realizing there's nothing you can do to change it. How much have U.S. tariffs impacted domestic businesses? Today, I was truly shocked. I went to Shunde to visit a friend and buy a sofa. And what did I find? Her factory, which spans tens of thousands of square meters, now has only a few warehouse staff left. I asked her what had happened. She said they had shut down long ago. Daily operating costs exceeded 100,000 yuan, and there was no other choice but to lay off all the workers. Seeing that scene broke my heart. I didn't know if there was anything I could do to help her. Let me show you. Everything you see is unsold inventory, all sofas originally intended for export to the U.S., and this is just one floor. There are more floors full of stock. No workers left, everyone's gone. This massive factory is now completely empty. After multiple rounds of tit-for-tat tariffs between China and the U.S., they have now imposed a minimum tariff of 145% on all Chinese goods. This is essentially a death sentence for Chinese exports. China is now forced to divert goods to other countries, but no other country has the purchasing power of the U.S. To prevent Chinese goods from flooding their markets, other countries have also started imposing anti-dumping tariffs to protect their domestic industries. Do you think the trade war with the U.S., not taking orders from them, is some kind of victory? You're wrong. It's merely a forced move. Do you think you've only lost the American market? In reality, the global trade landscape has been completely reshaped. Let me be completely honest, and I'm not exaggerating. The American market is like the Pacific Ocean, while other markets at best are like Lake Taihu. Now the tide is going out. Guess which one will dry up first? The lake or the ocean? The U.S.-China trade conflict happened right when China's economy is at its weakest point in decades, making an already difficult situation even worse. The former prosperity of Shanghai is slowly fading, and people are being forced to live more frugally. Right now in Shanghai, even large companies like Tesla, Ping An, and Huawei are laying off employees, cutting salaries, or freezing hiring. Smaller businesses? It's even worse. Many owners themselves are struggling. Wage delays are becoming common. Walking down the streets, you see "for rent" and lease transfer signs everywhere. Under these circumstances in Shanghai, The number of people who can still earn good money is shrinking fast. Ordinary wage earners are relying more and more on credit cards or online consumer loans to get by. Even after working a whole month, many people make very little. Those burdened with mortgage loans are suffering the most, working themselves to the bone and still not earning enough to cover their debts. Some people gently describe the current trend as reduced consumption, but the reality is, people just don't have money. Today's youth? Forget about saving. Just not being in debt is already an achievement. That's the real situation for young people in Shanghai right now. The three most famous commercial streets in Shanghai, Nanjing Road, Huaihai Road, and North Sichuan Road, were once bustling with activity and steeped in history, drawing both locals and tourists alike. Now, they're eerily quiet. North Sichuan Road used to be one of the top 3 busiest shopping streets in Shanghai, rivaling Nanjing and Huaihai roads in foot traffic. It's hard to believe how far it has declined. Once packed crowds lined up at the famed People's Cinema. Now it's been reduced to a quiet little market, visited occasionally by a few elderly residents from the neighborhood. 4 once renowned department stores, Spring Department Store, 700 Department Store, Fuhai Shopping Center, and Dongbao, have all completely shut down. Westlake Hotel, a long-established state-run brand that was once so popular you couldn't even book a table, is now just an aging, forgotten building. So why has a street as once glorious as North Sichuan Road fallen into such dismal decline? Right now, I'm standing at Lujiazui International Financial Center, the heart of Greater Shanghai. It's midday, yet the entire street is empty. Where are all the office workers? Where are the beautiful young women? This area is supposed to house the headquarters of major banks and financial institutions. It should be bustling with white-collar professionals. But where is everyone? I walked around, and even the food courts and casual restaurants are nowhere to be found. It's hard to even get a simple meal. Is this really the Shanghai that used to generate over 5 trillion yuan in GDP every year? It's unbelievable. Where has everyone gone? There are fewer people here than in my hometown. As for the trade war that everyone is talking about, there are factories that had to lay off all their workers overnight. So what should an ordinary family do in times like this? Our family has come up with 3 long-term strategies. First, save as much as possible within our means. Don't spend on unnecessary things. No upgrading to a new house, no buying a new car, no luxury purchases. We've cut back on our child's extracurricular classes. We try to help with homework ourselves, and if that's not enough, we use online courses instead of expensive one-on-one tutoring. Second, maintain a positive mindset. It's important to protect your mental well-being, especially within the family, between spouses, and with the children. When challenges arise, remember these 3 phrases. It's not necessary, it's not that bad, and it'll be okay. Third, keep exercising and building physical strength. Health is the foundation of everything. If we want to get through tough times, we need strong bodies to begin with. As long as we do these 3 things well, then no matter what trade war we face, it won't be a problem. Starting today, let's focus on saving diligently. Donguan, known as the world's factory with over 14,000 export enterprises, is being devastated by tariffs. When these factories can't ship goods, upstream and downstream orders collapse. One Taiwanese factory extended its one-day holiday to 5 days due to lack of work. To survive, export-oriented businesses are forced into domestic sales, flooding the market and crushing smaller factories. The 3 pillar industries, electronics, textiles, and machinery, are hit hardest. Before, electronics factories were crippled by a 25% tariff. A factory with 10,000 employees making Apple headphones now has empty dorms and slashed profits. Furniture and textile factories are cutting prices just to survive, but no one is buying. Machinery firms face a 30% surge in procurement costs due to reliance on U.S. technology. Factories are either raising prices or bleeding losses. Tariffs have wiped out profits and cut Donguan's orders by nearly 70%. Factory owners are overwhelmed by debt and sleepless with worry. 80% now have destroyed credit. One mold factory went bankrupt, and the boss disappeared without paying wages. Employees are left abandoned. As one worker said, "If your company hasn't paid in 2 months, run. Don't go down with the boss." Nearly half of the factories in Donguan have closed following the U.S. tariff decision. Is there no work to do? Or are they just staying in their hometowns? Look at Donguan, the former industrial capital. Now the streets are empty. There are not many people, including for recruitment. In the past, there were queues and crowds of people every time the recruitment season came. Now there are only a few people. There are no applicants. Where did they go? As of April 11, 2025, Trump's second term has imposed tariffs on Chinese goods totaling 125%. The impact of high tariffs on China is immediate. A large number of videos circulating online show that Chinese private enterprises and bosses are wailing. The trade war has really begun, and it has hit our manufacturing bosses in the chest. We have also witnessed the history of this tariff. From the beginning, it rose by 34%, then to 104%, and now it has directly risen to 145%. What does this mean to us? First, the volatility of raw materials is very large. Second, foreign trade orders are directly cut in half, especially for those bosses who do American lines. Where should they go? Third, the stock market exploded in succession, and all sectors were in the red. Investors were really miserable, but the real horror was that these small and medium-sized enterprises with tight capital flow might not last more than 3 months and would really go bankrupt. The United States increased taxes, Europe increased taxes, Japan and South Korea increased taxes, and even Vietnam increased taxes. Brothers, the U.S. beef was just taxed by us, and then it was hit back. Can we withstand this global siege? Friends who do foreign trade know how difficult it is to handle foreign trade this year. The United States has imposed this 34% tax, and many companies can't bear it. With a tariff of 145%, how can the bosses of Yiwu who do foreign trade survive? The business in the market has been very bleak in the past 2 or 3 years. This year's exports to the United States are estimated to be 50% less. In the end, we can only look at the European market and the Southeast Asian market of the Belt and Road Initiative. On April 9th, an employee in Jiangsu province shared a video online showing an empty workshop, saying that the factory had stopped working and was on holiday. She had to wait for notice on when to resume work, and she was forced to find temporary work. Hello, friends. After the tariff policy came out, some companies have directly taken a 2-month holiday and have no orders. Those who understand know that this time the situation is very, very bad, and the situation is very, very serious. Now the workshop is full of foreign goods, and it is not known whether they can be shipped out or whether the other party wants them. Now the situation is like this. The factory has stopped working and producing, hundreds of people have been disbanded on the spot, and all U.S. orders have stopped today. As soon as the tariff war started, the company's U.S. orders were all canceled overnight. The company went on holiday. Look, there is no one. I am a real furniture foreign trade factory for the U.S. market. Many people say to hold on, but a foreign trade factory that makes furniture has received orders from customers to suspend orders and will not ship. The factory has no orders. What should the employees do? How to hold on to the expenses? Then, what will happen if it continues? Then the goods that are shipped are about to reach the U.S. port at sea. What can I do? Let me show you. This product is for export. Due to yesterday's tariffs, all orders have been stalled. All shipments have been suspended. So many goods are stuck here. In this tariff trade war, small and medium-sized enterprises like us are the first to bear the brunt. The U.S. has increased its tariffs on China to 125%. My God, it seems that the wages of our factory workers have to be reduced again. The current economic environment is so bad. Many people say, will it affect my 3,000 CNY salary? It will definitely affect it, because I can't get money, right? You must reduce wages. What should I do? I can't afford to lose money. You can continue to call me a black-hearted capitalist. 70% of bosses in Ningbo are operating in debt. I have been working in Ningbo for 11 years in corporate loan services. I have never seen a boss who is worse off than his employees. Orders have shrunk by half, and there is no profit left. The triangular debts are getting bigger and bigger. The bank loans may not be repaid in this lifetime. Many bosses in Ningbo go to courts and banks the most. When they go to court, they are either defendants or plaintiffs. When they go to banks, they beg for loans in a humble manner. 70% of bosses have a thicker credit record than the Xinhua dictionary. Even if the gods come, they can't save them. Some bosses rely on mortgaging houses, cars, and factories to keep their factories alive. Some bosses rely on borrowing private funds to pay their employees. And more bosses can't borrow a dime. Some netizens said that the biggest victims of the U.S. tariff stick this time are actually the pockets of ordinary people. There is no winner in the tariff war, but ordinary people are the most hurt. The U.S. and China are now in a trade war. Gold and stocks have collapsed. Tesla and BYD factories have closed. Now companies that export electronics have begun to reduce their staff. That means that many people will have to find jobs again in the second half of the year. Those who are still waiting for a good job at home after the Chinese New Year should not come out. Plant some soybeans and raise a few cows at home in the second half of the year because China has stopped importing these. The U.S. tariff stick is back, but this time it hits our wallets harder than Huawei or BYD. Prices are rising. Electric cars up by 3,000 yuan, iPhones by 500 yuan, and Tesla has paused its expansion. According to the Ministry of Finance, tariffs will increase household spending by 1,800 yuan annually. Three major ripple effects follow. Export companies lay off workers, factories in the Yangtze Delta cut hours. Prices spiral upward, especially for EVs and solar products. And the job market shrinks, with foreign trade jobs dropping by 23%. A toy factory owner in Donguan said U.S. orders halved, and his 200-person team now works only 3 days a week. In this tariff war, there are no winners. Only ordinary people lose. The first wave of casualties includes catering businesses. Popular BBQ buffets are closing down, especially those relying on cheap imported meats like pork, beef, and lamb. Rising ingredient costs have hurt performance. On the upside, chicken, duck, goose, and local aquatic food businesses are unaffected and may even benefit as consumers shift preferences. Now, enterprises in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai have begun to appear. Large areas of stranded people have already seen a tide of people returning home. There may be more people returning home than leaving. If you don't believe it, go to the train station and see that there are many people carrying bags, but they don't know where to go. Those who work in labor know that at present, enterprises in Jiangsu, Zhejiang, and Shanghai are almost full and have no shortage of people, so they either go back to their hometowns, live in train stations, sleep in parks, or choose to lie flat. Now there are basically no enterprises to enter. If you really have pressure and want to go out to work, then you must think carefully and be able to accept a bad job. Scholar Mr. Kai told RFA that the CCP's internal circulation economy is failing. With the U.S. market lost, external circulation is also in trouble. As China pushes the U.S. trade war into extreme confrontation, Chinese factory workers, e-commerce sellers, and SMEs are bearing the brunt.
Can money still be safely deposited in banks? Hunan bank staff stealing depositors' money exposed. Recently, an incident involving a bank staff member in Hunan stealing depositors' money has garnered public attention. On May 14th, Mr. Li from Xiangqing City, Shoukou, Hunan Province, told Hubei Economic TV's Economic TV Live that his sister, Ms. Li, had deposited two fixed amounts at the Xiangqing Rural Commercial Bank in Shoukou City 2 years ago, one of 250,000 yuan, about $35,000, and another of 67,000 yuan, about $9,300. In August 2023, when Mr. Li and his sister went to withdraw money from the bank, the staff informed them that the account was empty and the money had been taken by someone else. His sister immediately reported to the police. It was later discovered that the money had ended up in the hands of a bank employee. Mr. Li explained. The bank staff forged my sister's signature, canceled both accounts as lost, and then opened a new one, withdrawing the money in 3 transactions. Ms. Li stated that on April 13, 2022, the bank staff, Liu, had falsely reported the accounts as lost and withdrew all the money in 3 transactions between April and May of the same year. After several communications with Liu, on February 9 this year, Liu returned 67,000 yuan, but the remaining 250,000 yuan, about $35,000, has yet to be returned. According to a recorded conversation between Ms. Li and Liu, Liu indeed admitted to having Ms. Li's money. Mr. Liu, the manager at Jiaodong East Road branch of Xiangqing Rural Commercial Bank in Zhoukou City, confirmed that Liu was indeed their employee but had retired in 2023. On the afternoon of the 14th, the vice president of Xiangqing Rural Commercial Bank told the Beijing News that the involved staff member had been detained by the police. The vice president said, "There might have been a problem with the system, the bank staff just forged a loss report to withdraw the funds," adding that the amount stolen by the bank staff is still being determined. Currently, Liu is under arrest on suspicion of embezzlement. Following the exposure of her savings being misappropriated, several other depositors have also reported their money being misused. This issue became a hot search topic on the 15th, sparking heated discussions. Netizens from mainland China commented, "The start of rural bank failures, Hunan used administrative measures to freeze depositors' money, neither providing legal documents for the freeze to depositors nor informing them which department was responsible for the freeze, which has now lasted over 800 days. Others said, again, a bank from Hunan. Depositing money in banks isn't safe anymore. Even banks are not trustworthy.
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.